look like that. Or if I were to go to a swimming pool and I'm wearing a bikini and someone makes a comment about it, normally that would have destroyed me. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm starting to recognize that it's a projection, right? So people who are going to judge me for my own body, like my body things, it's a projection of how they feel. So I'm starting to recognize I'm not those judgments that they have for themselves. And just because they have those things doesn't make me have shame about it. So today I showed up in shorts. I've never, like, for years and years and years, I've never worn shorts because I've been ashamed of my thighs. I don't get on social media and do videos because I'm like, well, if I don't look the idea of how I think people want me to look, they're not going to listen to the words that I have to say. My words aren't important. So this is a pattern that is definitely, I can feel I'm breaking out of right now. And I know that I'm breaking out of it because it gets loudest right before you break out. So with people who are struggling with this as well, just any time that you're trying to break a pattern that you've carried from your past, it'll always get loudest right before you break out of it. And so I know body shame is definitely one of the biggest ones for me right now.
I think like my experience is shifting and changing patterns and breaking out of those things. And really, I mean, the perspective that I take on it is the evolution of just humans, right? And the way that we evolve over the course of our life. And I like that you say that it gets louder. For me, it gets like it just feels more chaotic. So like as shift happens, I just heard it. I didn't plan that, but suddenly I need a t-shirt. But as that takes place, it seems like everything's falling apart. It seems extremely chaotic. It seems like just recently I was talking with a friend of mine and I was telling him about the beginning of this year. I was at a point in my life where it felt like the wheels were really starting to come off, and like to the point where 3 flat tires and the 4th one is like on a fucking axle and we're about ready to just, roll right into the ditch. And it seems like that and it feels like that, but I can eventually get out of that and I can look back, or even sometimes in the thick of it, feeling that way, I still can have some awareness of like, oh yeah, this is the evolutionary growth process and the change that takes place, because I've experienced it before, unfortunately. But it's always a good thing. It's always a good thing. And that's what it's been like for me this year. Probably like the last 2 years or 3 years, or I don't know. What would you say, babe? 4 years? 5 years? How about 7.5 years? The last 7 3/4 years has...
My rotors have learned how to walk. We're like... Yeah. It's been a bit.
It sucks. It gets really loud and really chaotic.
Definitely.
That brought me also peace. Just the way you phrased it, I was like, oh, I'm really loud right now. And you have the awareness, how when you have the awareness of things, you're like, I know this is because of this growth. I know I'm on the brink of something. I know something's coming, but then you hear it a different way and then you feel it. You're like, oh, it's really loud. This is exciting. So hearing that.
What do you do when it gets really loud or really chaotic? Like, how do you keep your head above water in those moments?
I try to lean in even more, to be honest with you. I do a lot of reflecting. Journaling is like one of my main ways that I'm able to really tap into things that I'm not conscious of, to help bring that up and the whys of what that is. And I'm also in this place of recognizing so often I'm pretty stubborn and I feel like I know what's best for me a lot of times. So if I see something in life that I think I want, I get hyper focused on it. I'm like, okay, this is for me, this is for me, this is for me. And I think that it's for me. Well, if the universe comes in and shows me something else, this is where it gets loud and chaotic. This is where, you're like, it teaches me to kind of go within myself, and I have to look at, why am I holding on to this so deeply? And ultimately there's fear behind that. There's fear of letting go of my comforts to embrace the greater unknowns, because I know ultimately the universe will always give me things that are so much greater than I could even fathom. So I kind of look at it as like the Tower card in tarot, or the Death card in tarot, where in order to bring those things that are in higher alignment for your next level up, for your next who you're stepping in to be, you need to drop the dead, stagnant energy. You can't take that with you. It's taking up the room of the things that are ultimately better for you. And so I see it as a cycle of like the death and rebirth, or the Tower, the crumbling of everything that what once was, all your comforts. And it sucks. Like when we let go of comforts, it's not easy. It's not an easy process at all. So ultimately recognizing, oh shit, it's getting really loud, but I'm about to clear out all this stuff and I can't even imagine what's about to come in.
Okay.
Yeah.